Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video game review of, and this is the collector's edition though, of Shadow of the Colossus for the PS4. And as I showed you, this is the collector's edition. See here with the lovely steel case and the map and the game, and see anything else? Oh yeah, and just a nifty art book, and right up here the art book and the code to just get like a item and so on. But either way, that's what it looks like though. I never really tried the original Shadows of Colossus when it came out back in the PlayStation 2 or the remastered version. I never got around to trying those games out though, although I always thought they were kind of interesting to try out though. So when they announced it for the PS4, I got a chance to play the game out, and I will say that my response to the game has kind of mixed in some ways. There are things that make the game look good, but there are certainly two areas I think, at least for me, that kind of hold it back. So why don't we get started with the pros and the con? And oh, actually wait, before we begin, I want to point out, if you're interested in gameplay footage, I'll have a link in the description of this video. So why don't we get started with our pros and cons. So the first one we'll start with is the visuals. Now, it is worth pointing out I'm playing this game off the base PS4. I don't have a PS4 Pro or anything else like that. That said though, I have to say, visually speaking, excuse me, for a remake, it looks good. I mean, I think the graphics in the game look really nice. I like the art style, especially some of the designs of these Colossus like monsters and so on. So visually speaking, it looks nice though. I mean, it's not, I'll say there are certainly other games that look great on the PS4, but I will say this definitely looks good for a remaster of a PlayStation 2 game that was also remastered on the PS3. So visually, it looks nice. I like the art style. I like the character designs in the game. So beautiful graphics and art style though. The next thing I do want to point out is the story, which I find very interesting though. Basically, the story is that you're trying to resurrect, I think, your sister, and you have to defeat these creatures in order to be able to accomplish this. And the story and the world behind it just looks very fascinating and very interesting. So from a story perspective, I would say good on the story though. And last but not least is the gameplay mechanics, which I find are very interesting though. Basically, the game doesn't really have, based on my time with it though, doesn't really have any enemies outside of these Colossus bosses, because for the most part you'll be exploring and trying to find these bosses though, and there's a bit of a puzzle to it in terms of attacking them and when to, you know, climb on them to attack their weak spot and so on. So it adds an interesting gameplay mechanics to it though. So from that perspective, it certainly is interesting though, in terms of the gameplay mechanics as well. Alright, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to the cons with this one. And there are two that I think kind of are, to me, kind of hold it back from being, this game being super great. I'm not saying it's terrible, it's just like the greatest game ever made or so on. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video of my review of Shadow of the, oh, let me get that right here, Shadow of the Colossus for the PS4 though. And now that I gave you my pros of what I did like, why don't I get with the cons? And these two are kind of probably going to be the important one. One is going to depend on your preference. The other one I certainly had an issue with though. So why don't we get started with the first one, and that is, as I mentioned earlier in the pros though, the gameplay mechanics are kind of interesting, but I would like to point out that as a con, at the same time, it may not appeal to everyone, because for pretty much the game is you're pretty much fighting the Colossus during the entire game, or at least based on my time with the game. There's no really any other enemies in the game to fight, and basically the whole thing is the experience and so on, which is okay for some people, and there are some people who like that kind of experience, but it may not appeal for everyone. So if you're looking at sort of like a traditional structure of a game where you're fighting enemies and then a boss, probably not going to find it here, since the main purpose of the game is to fight these Colossus, which are basically the boss. So it's kind of like a boss rush mode in a way, though. And again, some of that might appeal to some people, some of it may not appeal to everyone, though. And last but not least, and this is one of the issues I had with the game, though, which is going to be an issue for some, and that is the cameras and the controls in the game. Now, I'm not saying the game is unplayable, though, but there were times in the game when, in terms of scaling or climbing up mountains or climbing up stuff, it felt like a struggle. It felt like basically the camera was a bit wonky in terms of trying to move my character around. Like if I'm hanging on a cliff or something and I'm trying to move to the other side, it can get a little bit difficult. Sometimes climbing the beasts can be a bit difficult at times because of the fact that you're kind of struggling and trying to hit, you know, the weak spot on those Colossus beasts, though. And then there are times where just the animation of the main character moving is just a bit odd. Sometimes even walking, even riding the horses can be somewhat a bit of a hassle sometimes, though. But again, I'm not saying it makes the game unplayable. It's still playable. It's just the controls can be a bit frustrated, especially as I mentioned earlier, when you're climbing up on the creatures, or, you know, the Colossus, Colossus, if I'm saying the name correctly, though. So it's just that the controls and the camera are going to be an issue for some people, and that might be one area that might turn some people off on Shadow of the Colossus, though. Overall, Shadow of the Colossus, I'm kind of mixed about, though. On one hand, I think the game looks beautiful, though, with its art style and its storytelling and the world that they created, especially the mood where basically it's quiet until you go up to fighting these Colossus creatures, and those look extremely impressive, though. But at the same time, the way the gameplay is set up may not appeal to everyone, since it feels like basically this is a boss rush mode, and the cameras and the controls are probably going to be a turn off for some people. I mean, there are going to be some issues where sometimes it can get a little bit frustrated, so the controls are kind of so-so on this one. It is something worth trying out, though. I will say that it's worth a game to take a look at, though. It is a good experience, though, in terms of the story and everything. It's a matter of, can you handle the controls? And some people are able to handle the controls, some people are not. So overall, it's worth trying. It's worth at least trying out, though. But this game may not appeal to everyone, though. It looks impressive. The story looks nice. The world they created looks nice, though. But it's the camera and the controls that might be an issue for some people in terms of Shadows of Colossus, though. So overall, it's worth a try, though. But it may not appeal to everybody, to be exact. Okay, this concludes my video review of Shadow of the Colossus for the PS4. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts of Shadows of Colossus, though? Is this worth a triple dip again to pick up on the PS4 or your PS4 Pro? Keep in mind, I'm basing my review off the base PS4. Or is it that you already played it on the PS3 and the original PS2 that you don't need to pick this one up as well? Do you think the camera and the controls is an issue, or do you think it's really a non-issue at all, though? Do you like this type of gameplay, how it's basically you're just fighting these bosses only and not fighting anyone else? Or is it this isn't the type of gameplay for you, though? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree with my review? Do you have a difference of opinion, though? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Excuse me. And I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day and happy St. Patrick's Day, even though this, or late St. Patrick's Day, even though this video will probably go up on Tuesday though, but I'm filming this on Saturday, so I'm wearing green and so on, yeah. But either way, wish you all a good day then. Bye!